guys, welcome back to Off the Shelf. I'm Norton HD, and this week we found off the shelf was...
I am out, and Danny is out too. And if you come near my family again, I will feed you your heart.
What's happening, Dad? I don't think you realize what's been going on here. We are 10 times what we were.
They're after you, man. They're gonna come for me. They're gonna come for me. There ain't nothing I can do. Hey, Danny!
Shoot it!
American History X, released in 1998. It is a drama film starring Ed Norton, who was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor for this film specifically. Also starring Eddie Furlong, who you may know from T2 as John Connor. John Connor? But that's a different guy, if you know what I mean. But this film, I thought, was very well done. And if you don't know what it's about, or if you have never seen it or never heard of it, this film is really about the hatred, racism, oppression that is kind of like deep-seated in our country, and how long it's been deep-seated into our country. And it's sad how relevant this movie still is, even now, right? We're still talking about the same shit that they were talking about, like, over 20 years ago in this movie. And it brings up the question, will this hatred ever go away? Because there have been certain types of minorities and races of people that have been hated for thousands of years. And it's like, is that ever going away? No. So will this ever go away? Probably not. And it's a sad thought, that people in this country might never be treated equally. They might never be treated like they should. Truly, like, as they should. To quote the late Roger Ebert, he said that this film was good at representing how, hate is spread from generation to generation. Which is very true. Hate is spread from generation to generation. In this film, but one thing I disagree with him on is that he said that this film didn't flesh out Derek, or Ed Norton's character. Like, they didn't flesh out how he became this neo-Nazi, racist. They didn't really flesh it out enough. But I personally think the scene with his dad at the dinner table was good enough. Because, essentially, at this point, Derek was not racist. He wasn't a neo-Nazi. He was just a normal kid doing his homework, just a normal kid, right? But he was, bringing up how, they were he read this book about this black guy, right? And just his dad, just hearing that it was about a black guy set him off. He's like, well, there were two black guys who took jobs from two white guys, and my job, but the white guys were better, right? And he was being racist, right? So it clearly establishes that his dad was the racist one, and he spread his racism to his son. And, that's how it is. You don't start out racist. You don't start out as a hateful person. It's like you're corrupted by the people around you. And it's like his dad was a bad influence. And I think it's a good enough scene to where the way it's written, you can tell that he kept kind of pushing his racist views onto his son, right? I feel like you could kind of fill in the blanks after that scene and be like, oh, well, he just kept saying racist shit and his son just kind of started believing it, right? And later on in the movie, he gets sent to prison for killing these black guys, for trying to break into his car and steal it, and he brutally killed them because he was racist. I mean, yeah, they were trying to break into his car, but do you really need to stomp a guy's head onto the curb because they were trying to steal your car? Maybe you could beat them up, maybe, but brutally murder them is probably a little too much. But he got sent to prison for 3.5 years, and he got rehabilitated in that time, and he stopped being a neo-Nazi because he befriended this black guy at the prison. And it took time, obviously. He didn't immediately become friends with him. But, he would be his work partner. They would, do the laundry and, work with the sheets and do stuff like that. So they were kind of stuck together. And Ed Norton began to like him. So essentially he finds this group of Nazis and he joins their group. But there's a lot of hypocrisy there because, obviously the whole deal with like Nazis, they have the whole white supremacy. Oh, our race is a superior race. We're better than all the other races. They're inferior to us. Like they don't deserve to be in the same group as us. They should be separated from us. We should be higher than them. But there was a lot of hypocrisy there because they were getting drugs from Mexican prisoners and selling it to other white people. So they didn't really believe what they were saying, right? They weren't like, it was just talk, right? They were just saying shit. And Ed Norton realized this, and he left the group. And then he befriended, a black prisoner that he, like his work partner. He befriended him, and he realized, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these guys aren't all bad. Maybe I've been taught the wrong things my whole life. Maybe I was wrong, right? And, obviously since he left, the Nazi guys, they didn't take that lightly, right? And they assaulted him in the showers, which I'm assuming you can assume what they did. I don't need to describe it. But, yeah, that's what happened. And eventually his teacher, I think it was Dr. Sweeney, came in, and he basically told him, like, your brother, he's talking to your, like, neo-Nazi friends. He's, like, becoming like you. And he's like, so Dr. Sweeney went to, like, obviously also they, like, slammed his head after they were done. They slammed his head onto the shower wall, and he got pretty beat up. But while he was in, like, the prison hospital, Dr. Sweeney, his previous, like, the principal of the school, came in, trying to help him, trying to help rehabilitate him. He got him some books, and he was basically just telling him, you gotta stop this. Your little brother is getting into this. He's gonna end up just like you. Like, do you want him to end up like you? Right? Like, where you're at right now. And Ed Norton's, like, is slowly starting to realize that it's all bullshit. Right? Like, all this white supremacy, Nazi it's all shit. Right? It's hypocritical, it's bullshit, and it's just ignorant. Right? Because then, as he talks with his black friend, and his black friend says he got in prison because he stole a TV. And he stole a TV from a store, and he ran into some police officers. And they grabbed his arm, and he accidentally dropped the TV on their foot. But the police said he, like, threw it at them. He intentionally attacked them with the TV, and he got 6 years. Ed Norton killed 2 people, and he only got 3. Like, there's clearly some bias there, right? Especially, like, from the police lying and saying that he attacked them when he didn't. And Ed Norton, in that scene, he doesn't believe it at first, and then he kind of realizes in that moment, like, maybe there is oppression, there is systems of injustice in this country. He realizes that. And when he gets back, because these are all, like, a lot of flashbacks, and when he gets back into the present, like, he sees his brothers, like, still hanging out with these neo-Nazis. He's starting to express, the same opinions as these neo-Nazis, as his, like, previous people, like, what happened to him when he was a kid. So he's trying to get him out of it, right? And basically, he cuts off from the neo-Nazis. He gets into a bad confrontation with them. And then, basically, after escaping from, like, like a den, pretty much like a Nazi den, him and his brother, Eddie Furlong, they sit down, and he just basically tells them the story I just told you in the prison. And Danny, Eddie Furlong's character, he realizes as well that it's bullshit, right? He realizes in that moment, because there was still time. Like, he wasn't fully brainwashed yet. There was still time. And he realized that it was bullshit. But there was one layer that you might have forgotten. He kind of semi-antagonized these kids, these black kids who were bullying this kid. And he didn't even really, like, antagonize them or cuss them out or call them slurs or anything. He just, like, blew cigarette smoke in their face, basically telling them to leave him alone and fuck off, basically is what he was saying. He didn't say anything inherently racist or do anything racist. They were beating up this innocent kid for, like, seemingly no reason. And he helped him. He helped that kid. But, you know, these kids, I guess they felt embarrassed or something, I don't know. They killed him. Like, at the end of the movie, he has, like, this, because obviously the teacher, he has this paper that he had him write about his brother. And he wrote it. He was going to give it to to Sweeney as soon as he got in, but he was going to use the bathroom. But then the kid teleported behind him like Batman in the bathroom, and he shot him. And it's like, I really like the ending because it makes sense. You know, when you get into a life like that, like when you get into like a risky life like this, it's hard to get out, right? And the sad part, in reality, it's like the ones who have, you know, the ones who always look like they're promising, right? They're gonna get out, they're gonna start a new life, or they're gonna be better. They're always the ones who get got, because that's how it is, right? It's cruel. And it's like, so another thing, like Ed Norton was saying, let's just take the fame, let's get out of here. You know, let's start a new life, let's move somewhere else. But of course, you can't have happy endings, right? You don't always get a fairy tale ending, right? Like, this stuff, it's cruel. You know, it's like a never-ending cycle of pain with, like, kind of a life like this. And it's real. You know, a lot of people in, like, crime, whether it's crime or hate or anything, if you want to get out, you have to be lucky. It takes luck to get out of a life like that, especially if you're in as deep as they were, right? Or as deep as Ed Norton was. And it's karma for him, right? You know, I mean, obviously he rehabilitated and he got better, but he was still a neo-Nazi for a lot of his life, you know, or like for a lot of years. So it was kind of a bit of karma. It was kind of a bit of cruelty, but life's cruel, right? You can't always, as I say, can't always get the fairy tale ending. And I really liked the ending because it made sense, you know. I think it would have been a kind of cop-out to get like the happy ending where they move away. You know, especially in a movie like that where it's pretty grounded in reality mostly. And overall, I really enjoyed it. And I think it's a really important film. And I think it's very educational on the subjects that it talks about. I think it's a very interesting film that I would highly recommend. You know, if you're interested in any of the topics that it speaks on, or if you just want to be a little informed about it, I really think you should watch it. It's a very good movie. Like, anyway, so even if you're not wanting to be informed, you should just watch it because it's a great movie. And, you know, I would just highly recommend it. And with that being said, I think I'd rate this film an 8.5 out of 10. Very much liked it. Very informational, very educational. Would highly, highly recommend it. And, yeah. I think that's how I say. Thanks for some peace. So, guys, hope you liked this video. Share, friends, subscribe, notifications on, comment a little bit you liked it. And I've been Norton HD. Signing off. And also, like, one thing I really liked about this movie is that, like, there was no, like, one single person that was, like, a villain or, like, the antagonist of this film. One thing I really liked is that, like, the real central antagonist of this film was the sense of hatred. You know, as I was talking about, like, hatred itself, like, in these people's minds, and, like, the people. Like, I really liked that because it felt more real. Because hatred really is a villain in real life. You know, so many people are separated and divided by just hatred, like irrational, unreasonable, pointless, ignorant hatred. And I really liked how well this film depicted that.